This is absolutely perfect.
As Herrera kicks away, and we will say hello to Jalen Milroe, the first player in the SEC to open a season with 5 straight games with a passing and rushing touchdown. Every single game since Tebow did it way back when. You see the 20 total touchdowns.
Yeah, and Joe, watching him on film the last 2 weeks, I think he's been the best quarterback in the country, both throwing it and running it. The only negative and criticism is that he's had 3 turnovers. 3 of the 4 on the season have come in the last 2 games. In this one today, he's got to be really careful with his decision making, also the ball security, because South Carolina's defense thrives on takeaways. They've got 10 this year.
Justice Haynes will start in the backfield as he splits out. They'll get him the ball right away. Here's Haynes in space, and he's taken down at about the 28-yard line.
You take a look at the impact players for this Alabama offense. The true freshman Ryan Williams has just been lighting defenses up each and every week. Jalen Miller will look for him deep. Jam Miller, he just had the catch, has tons of speed as well, both running and catching. Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart, that's the duo at defensive end coming upfield that Alabama has got to be concerned with. They have been wrecking games this year.
2nd and 7 as Haynes will take it off left tackle. Gets a little helping hand from his friend right there, Tyler Booker, the big left guard. Kennard made the tackle.
And it's important, I think, in this game, Joe, offensively for Alabama, to win on 1st and 2nd down and keep 3rd very manageable. We keep talking about Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart. You don't want to be living in 3rd and long situations and allowing these guys to come off the edge, pinning their ears back.
They just want to get off to a nice, consistent start here. Remember, 2nd throw of the game last week against Vandy was a tip ball interception as Haynes takes it ahead. Very close to that line of game. We'll check for the mark of that ball. He thinks he's got it, but I think he may be marked about a football short.
And Alabama's going to get over the ball real quick right here, looking like they're going for it.
4th and inches. Milroe spins free and has the 1st down. So that was 4th and inches from their own 34 on the opening drive.
And no hesitation from head coach DeBoer and this coaching staff right away. After not getting it on 3rd, they come right back to the line of scrimmage quickly, and you've got a big, strong quarterback, and Milroe hesitates for a moment, finds the crease there off the left-hand side, able to move the sticks.
Give credit to the H-back, Robbie Oots, who moves 6'4", 270 pounds, of clearing just enough space. Milroe on 1st down, gets it out quickly, and turning the corner is Bernard, and Jeremy Bernard breaks free and gets a big explosive for Bama early on. Finally run down by O'Donnell Fortune.
And I love when Alabama goes empty, because Jalen Miller does a really nice job when the defense is spread out finding his answer. You got the running back going this way, that takes Debo Williams outside, and Bernard's able to just hook up in that soft spot in the zone. It's a really easy read for Jalen Milroe, and the ball gets out of his hands quickly, and when you do that, the receivers can go make something happen.
26 yards after the catch for Jeremy Bernard, a 30-yard reception. Empty set now on 1st down. High snap that Milroe's able to field. And with patience, he finds his target, Cole Adams, and it's 1st and goal, Alabama.
That's a really nice job of protection up front by Alabama, giving a really nice pocket right here for Milroe to throw into. Kyle Kennard was not on the field that snap, and when he comes out of the game, generally the pass rush goes down for South Carolina.
Here's Miller straight ahead, a gain of 3.
Really nice job, too, I think, Joe, of Alabama mixing up the tempo a little bit early. We've seen some shifts and motions taking a little time. We've seen them get right up to the line of scrimmage and go quickly like they are now, and South Carolina can't get set.
Straight ahead again, but this time denied, held just short by Debo Williams making the tackle.
This is an area of the field now where Jalen Milroe's legs, I think, really become a factor. He's maybe the best running back on this Alabama offense. When you get down here into the red zone, it's not a bad idea to have 4 toting the rock.
Very good-looking, well-managed opening drive for Alabama. This will be the 9th play. Justice Haynes comes in at running back to flank Milroe. 3rd and goal. He pulls it to the corner and in with ease. 1-yard touchdown run, Jalen Milroe. What a difference a week's make. As last week they got off to that sluggish start, the turnover against Vanderbilt. This is what he said to us yesterday. Milroe turned. He just said, listen, we just want to move the chains. We want to manage things well, get off to a good, clean start.
Well, that time on
Milroe clearly telling him, hey, by the way, do you know that as a program we've won 55 of the last 56 when we score a touchdown on the opening drive?
I just love the conviction in the play calling and the decision, Joe, to go for it as fast as they did on their own 34-yard line, especially coming off the loss last week at Vanderbilt, right? You're just trying to send a statement to your team. I think they clearly did that.
It aligns with so much that we heard this week from Alabama as to how they bounce back. Lenoris Sellers is the starting quarterback for South Carolina. Jess, remember a few weeks ago against LSU, he had a tremendous game, had the 4-yard touchdown. Left later with an ankle injury, but the wheels were on. Had a 75-yard touchdown, the longest by a South Carolina quarterback in program history.
Yeah, Joe, he's special. He's got a lot of things that you can't coach. He's 6'3", 242 pounds. He's got the arm talent to make all the throws, and obviously he's dangerous running it. Now, he may not be 100% still because of that ankle injury. He missed the game against Akron. They need his legs in this game. Extending plays, but also in the design QB runs.
Same could be said of his running back, Rocket Sanders. That is batted right at the line of scrimmage.
Wow. That was Justin Jefferson from the linebacker position that just went up. That was like volleyball. That was like Katie George back at Louisville, just stuffing somebody at the net. Great job reacting. This is just going to be a quick throw over the middle of the field. And how about the ups by Justin Jefferson?
Thank you, Jesse. It didn't happen often.
Second down and 10. Sellers extends the play, gets it to Sanders, and Rocket Sanders. A first down for South Carolina. He looks closer to 100% health this week. Tweaked his ankle in the blowout against Akron.
Well, that's what I'm talking about with Sellers right here. There's going to be a little bit of a pocket. He's going to have a chance to step up before finding some time and making the throw to the swing outside. His legs have to be a factor, and it's not 75-yard touchdown runs necessarily, but just buying time and finding the easy throws.
First down run. As Sanders tries to test the left side of that line, the transfer from Arkansas where he had so much success.
Yeah, and they got to get number 5 going. And outside of the LSU game, Joe, they haven't been able to do that this year. And yes, he is battling the ankle injury, but this offensive line has got to give him creases.
He had a 66-yarder against LSU, had a couple of scores against the Tigers. Here's Sellers, RPO, and slides down.
Well, guys, Dow Logan said he was actually shocked Rocket Sanders played last week against Ole Miss. He's been dealing with that high ankle sprain that you guys mentioned, but he said last week he tried to protect Sanders to get him to the 4th quarter, and it was to Sanders' detriment. He had a hard time finding his rhythm. Logan said if he's out there feeling healthier, he's just got to let him go. He wants to get him early touches here often so that he can find a rhythm here today.
And Katie, he's one of the best short yardage running backs I've seen on film this year. At 6 foot, 230 pounds, he finds ways when you give him the ball.
Here's third down and 2. Quarterback run, lot of traffic, and unable to get free is Lenoris Sellers. Deontay Lawson finally got to him.
Well, Lawson got to him, but it was Tim Smith, their defensive tackle, who made the play. He absolutely bull rushed right guard Torricelli Simpkins right here, right into the play. There was absolutely nowhere for Lenoris Sellers to go up front. Just a great job of being physical by Tim Smith at the point of attack.
Ty Kroger on to punt away after that excellent play by the front of Alabama. Cole Adams is the return man. Kroger with a knuckler downfield, as it does take a very good South Carolina bounce, and Cole Adams makes a risky decision to field it. College football in early January. Last week was total chaos.
Total chaos, and this is something that's going to continue to happen throughout the course of the season, particularly in the conference in the SEC. When you take a look at some of the matchups coming up now, too. We're a long way away from the end of the season. A lot of exciting games left to come.
Bama's second drive of the afternoon, as getting it quickly into space to Ryan Williams, who was driven down immediately by Collier. Milroe, the stats keep coming. 10 passing, 10 rushing touchdowns now in multiple seasons. First player in Tide history to do that.
That's amazing to me, too, that Bryce Young never did that, and Jalen Hurts is the big one for me, Joe. I think that neither of those guys ever accomplished that. It's incredible what Jalen Milroe has been able to do here. What, 18, 19 games in his career.
You didn't have Greg McElroy on your 10 rushing touchdown probability list?
Listen, I'm all about quarterback sneaks. And those
Dagger early, G-Mac. Here's your second down run as Kennard makes the tackle of Jam Miller.
Okay, so this is the scenario South Carolina wants to set up. They want 3rd and long, and you want Kyle Kennard and you want Dylan Stewart, the true freshman, on the edge. They're going to line up wide outside, and they're going to try to get upfield. What South Carolina likes to do on the inside with their D tackles is occupy centers and guards with twists and stunts. And then out here, it's using your speed to get to the quarterback.
Opportunity for that on 3rd and 9. Milroe launches downfield in stride, but just beyond the uber-talented Ryan Williams.
Well, he was able to throw that on time. Nice job by the offensive line. It looked like Ryan Williams just had a step behind Judge Collier at corner. Takes an inside release on the go route. Jalen Milroe, one of the best deep ball throwers in all of college football. He doesn't miss those throws too often.
No return man back for South Carolina. Let's see if they come after this. And now they split back into formation as Joe DeCamillis, special teams guru, giving it a shot, and Burnham quickly had to get it off, and the flag does come down, so they send it to special teams coordinator Joe DeCamillis. And of course, Beamer loves his special teams play, but he's not going to be happy with the flag. Risk reward right there.
Wow. They got roughing the kicker and not contacting the kicker. I was wondering what that was going to be.
In the previous spot, it is first down.
And with that 4th and 9 becomes first down.
It's an automatic first when it's roughing the kicker. They're coming off the edge. I mean, he dives under his leg, and the punter is going down to land.
And did you see
the snap?
On him?
Yeah.
When you know the rush is coming, Hibbert, the snap, I mean, that was Burnham just fielding that, and to get the operation off in that time.
Is that roughing the kicker to you, Joe, or is that contacting the kicker?
Listen, we're going to bring our rules expert if we need to. Matt Austin can adjudicate on that. Matt, what do you say on that?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure he ever touched the kicker.
Yeah.
It looked like he may have grazed his foot as he was trying to land, but, you know, contact to the plant foot is automatic 15, but that certainly was not any kind of forcible contact. And I know there was a question in the replay's mind of did they tip the ball as they were trying to block it.
Of course.
Which would have taken everything off the board.
But you mentioned the plant foot, and that's critical because that is probably one of the most exposed positions you can be in all of football. So back to business on first down. And the quick out, but let's go back and watch the plant foot as Jeremy Bernard makes the catch here. Watch that plant foot, Jesse.
Yeah, this is what he's talking about here. It's going to be the left foot coming down right on top of him before falling over. I mean, there was contact there. It looked like the foot did hit, but...
Matt, you saw a second look. Your thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, he landed on his foot. I don't think I would have gone roughing in that case. Definitely a 5-yarder, but they're tough to get at in real time.
12-yard reception to Bernard. 1st and 10. Milroe, plenty of time, and he goes to Dupree, C.J. Dupree. And now all of a sudden, the South Carolina defense that did their job, one special teams penalty, and Bama hits on 2 completions.
Well, what I love is just the eyes of Milroe starting this way, and then he comes back over here to just find Dupree, just kind of spot up into the side of vision. He's doing a really nice job, Joe, of just getting through his progressions, knows where his checkdowns are.
Downfield on the offense, number 5. He was covered up and went downfield. That's a 5-yard penalty. It is first down.
So a late penalty because the receiver, Jeremy Bernard, was covered up, making him an ineligible receiver on his route.
It's an illegal formation. I want to go back to the penalty on the punt too, though, Joe. Listen, this Alabama offense, they're one of the most efficient in the country. They're scoring touchdowns on 47% of their drives. You cannot give them extra possessions and extra drives. And while it was a questionable call, certainly bad fortune for South Carolina.
So it's 1st and 15 after the penalty as Haynes cannot find much traction at all. Debo Williams with the tackle.
It's a tough defense to run against. We talk so much about Kennard and about Stewart, and with good reason, but Joe, they go 3 deep at D tackle as well. They've got a lot of monsters on the inside of this defensive lines, guys that are really hard to block. TJ Sanders, number 90, is coming in the game right now. Nobody has been able to block that guy. He's been a real unsung hero. It's going to be tough sledding for Bama when they're trying to run it.
Second and 14. Milroe gets it out to the near side as he goes to Cuevas, his tight end. Be 3rd down from there.
I love it when Alabama goes empty because I think it really does help Jalen Milroe out. You spread the defense out, you make the passing lanes a lot easier, and then if Milroe decides he wants to tuck it and run, you've got less bodies in the box for him to do so. So I think if you're Kalen DeBoer, I think if you're the play caller Nick Sheridan, I think you're looking for more and more of this, motioning the running back out of the backfield and giving Milroe his options.
Dylan Stewart, talented freshman edge rusher, comes out on a down and distance. You want him in there. 3rd down and 9.
There's 6 guys at the line of scrimmage right now. Milroe's got to be ready to throw this hot if all 6 guys come because there's only 5 blockers.
See number 5 Kennard standing up at the bottom of that line. Here's 3rd and 9, and it gets to him. Kyle Kennard was in that stance, just saying, I got him in my sights, and he finds him with a sack. 6.5 on the year now for Kennard.
Well, Alabama that time had 2 linemen blocking TJ Sanders at defensive tackle. They've got the left tackle here and the right guard here, and somehow nobody takes care of the guy that's leading the SEC with 5.5 sacks. That's a mistake up front, and it really costs Alabama.
And now Burnap back out to punt. As he hits a sky punt deep, and McDowell will field it inside the 10 on the return. And he just picks up a couple yards there.
Frustrated for us to go out there and not play up to our standard. It definitely was frustrating to me.
Quite frankly, pathetic and embarrassing.
We are Alabama. We don't lose to Vandy.
So you defeat a top 2 team in the country, you're number 1 in the country, and then you lose to an unranked opponent. That's what happened with Alabama as Sellers tries to connect, and he does so with Jacobs. That's only happened, Jesse, 4 times in the history of the sport. You got to go all the way back to 1960 Minnesota. That's how rare of a loss that is, with the extreme swings of that win versus that
Listen,
loss.
you look at the last 6 quarters, Alabama's not a playoff caliber defense. They cannot get off the field. On 3rd down and 4th down against Georgia and Vandy, that's where they've been struggling.
Quickly out to Simon, the big tight end. The Bama defense. You think about that second half against Georgia. You think about last week when, listen, Vandy also did their thing.
They did.
They took their shot. They bullied them a bit.
They need to be given credit because that gun option scheme that Vanderbilt runs, that's not your grandpa's Vanderbilt offense. They're a problem now, but the numbers are the numbers. Alabama's defense has allowed 9 touchdowns on their last 14 drives. If you take away that last drive by Vandy when they were trying to ice it.
2nd and 8. Sellers pitches, gets it to Larbadan. And that'll be a 1st down for South Carolina. Good work on the option.
And the thing about Bama is that, yes, they've got a lot of NFL talent, and they've got a lot of depth, especially up front in the front 7. But on the critical down and distances, Joe, they've got to be able to get off the field. And you see now in the last 6 quarters, their inability to do that. They've played 151 snaps now these last 2 games.
Giving up touchdowns on 9 of the 14 drives.
Can't happen. You're just not used to having Alabama and that what you just said in the same sentence ever.
A 10-yard run by Larbadan. Rocket Sanders going to test the middle, and he is denied. He's pushed back after a gain of maybe 1.5 yards.
You know, we talk about Rocket Sanders too, and you know, I think his lack of production outside of the LSU game really has been disappointing because he really was the crown jewel of the portal haul this offseason for Shane Beamer. They haven't got the return on investment, and I don't think it's him. I think it's the offensive line up front, not creating gaps and holes for number 5 to build up some steam. You've got to give this guy some space to room to run and let him go to work, and that just has not been the case for the most part early this year.
And a couple of years ago at Arkansas, a guy went for over 1,400 yards. 2nd and 8. Shallow cross is complete. It's Michael Smith, the true freshman tight end, and that's a first down, South Carolina.
It's a really nice design, and it's a good play call because you're getting a tight end up the field to get some of these defenders out, and then you can sort of run the drag route underneath it and make it a very easy read for Sellers. A lot of these throws have been short, high percentage completions, and you're helping your quarterback get into a rhythm.
Smith with the 15-yard reception. First down, right at midfield. Sellers, design quarterback run. That's a tackle for loss. That was Justin Jefferson who read it perfectly.
Great job reacting to it. He saw a gap between the center and the guard right away, and as soon as he identified it, he came flying downhill. One guy goes to the right, one guy goes to the left. There's just zero hesitation. And South Carolina's trying to get Lenore Sellers going in this game early, running it, but you've seen Jefferson now make a couple big plays early from the linebacker spot.
Final seconds of this first quarter. They're going to let that clock bleed down. Alabama trying to bounce back.
Sidelines with Shane Beamer. 2nd and long here. What do you need to do to extend this drive?
Finish. We knew the first quarter was going to be critical for both teams, that feeling each other out, both coming off disappointment from last week, have done some good. Really like that last drive we had defensively. Got a drive going right here. Wish we had thrown that ball and not ran that last one on the quarterback draw, but got to finish. It's going to be a 4-quarter game, and one of the keys for us this week as a team was to finish drives, and we didn't do a good job of that last week, and we need to on this one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As Shane Beamer just saw his quarterback Sellers taken down again. And that time Renaud coming up with the sack.
Well, that time it was Q Robinson coming off the edge. He just assaulted Cason Henry, the right tackle, getting to the QB.
3rd down and 21, so they set up the draw to Attaway. Attaway splits defenders and spins his way past midfield, where a flag is down all the way back at the 27-yard line.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 11. Contact above the shoulders, 15-yard penalty, results in a first down.
That is such a costly flag, as Campbell roughing the passer.
Well, and take a look at this as he's getting ready to throw this screen. His right hand gets up. He just grazes his face mask. It's not a knockout blow by any stretch, but referees are being careful to really try and protect quarterbacks. And that's why they get the call. And we saw earlier a questionable call on special teams with roughing the kicker, and I'd say that's maybe another one there this time with Alabama. By the letter of the law, that is a penalty, but one has gone against each team early in this game.
You think of down and distance coming off of the sack. You're walking off the field, and instead it's first down, South Carolina at the Alabama 34. The first time they've been in Alabama territory today. Attaway trying to test the middle of that defensive line.
And with that last penalty, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Joe, about Bama's struggles getting off the field these last 2 games. Vanderbilt converted 12 of 18 3rd downs. Georgia was 5 for 5 on 4th down. And whether it's penalties, whether it's lack of execution, no matter what it is, that's just been the issue with Alabama, and I don't think they can reach a playoff or compete for a national championship unless defensively that changes.
2nd and 7. Sellers is going to keep it. Sellers is going to turn the corner, but he was undercut at the last second by Damani Jackson.
Damani Jackson slow getting up. Remember, Sellers is 243 pounds, so he is a load to have to tackle, and
that's not a good sign.
No, and Jackson, he went low that time.
You can see he's struggling to put weight on that foot.
And this is a secondary, Joe, that really has struggled the last 2 weeks as well. You see him going down deep. It looks like maybe he takes a knee right to the side of the body. He's going in the tent now very gingerly.
Starting corner for Alabama. Had a pick-off against Carson Beck in that thriller against Georgia. When he came out of high school, he was the #1 cornerback in that recruiting class. So a drive that started at their own 10-yard line. This is the 11th play coming up, and it's 3rd down and 3. Sellers gobbled up and taken down again. Tim Smith has been so active, Jesse.
He really has, and he lines up here kind of in a tight defensive end position, flexes outside, and then beats the true freshman, Josiah Thompson, around the edge. He's a fifth-year player who's good against the run, but he's got so much power, and he's twitchy, too, and he shows you it right there now, setting up 4th down, and Lenore Sellers, he's still on the field.
4th down and 11. Fourth and 11, they bring pressure, they get it out quickly, but unable to get there is Joshua Simon, their big tight end, so it'll go down as a turnover on downs.
It was a cover 0 look, and the Sellers did the right thing, getting rid of it on the hot route, but a better play by Devontae Smith in the nickel, fighting off a block from a receiver and getting to the ball carrier and forcing the turnover on downs. Devontae Smith has been so good for this defense, Joe, in the slot in that nickel position, and where he shines is against the run and throws like this. He's just too physical for tight ends and receivers to block. And after the costly penalty, they're able to force the...
They're not with us this week to work this game, but our thoughts are with both of them as they continue to recover from the aftermath of the recent hurricane. As Ryan Williams is able to break free and scoot ahead. Checked in with Andy, by the way, Jesse, just before kickoff, minutes before kickoff. He said, just so people have a sense, he says, we're still digging out. We did get cell service back, so that's a plus. Wish we were there with you, but please stay strong for us. And guys, we are staying strong as you are in our thoughts, Andy and Tim. This is Justice Haynes who takes it ahead on 2nd and 2 for a 1st down. And that is the scene as Jackson, starting cornerback, was injured when Lenoris Sellers was running over to his side, and he undercut him for the tackle, but immediately stayed down on the turf.
That's bad news for Alabama. Remember, it was the secondary this year that lost 2 corners the first 2 rounds last season. Caleb Downs went to Ohio State. They've got a lot of new faces and a lot of true freshmen in that secondary, and it's a guy they're going to miss.
Justice Haynes goes ahead. By the way, the turnover on downs we saw moments ago is officially going to be recorded as an actual turnover, a fumble that was recovered on that tackle by Malachi Moore. So that is how Alabama received the ball.
And so, you know, you're in a situation now where if you're Alabama, you've got to keep track of number 5, and Kyle Kennard. He had the sack on the last drive. He was out for a couple plays. Now he's back out there again. As a play caller, Nick Sheridan has to be aware of that.
2nd and 5. That was overthrown and nearly intercepted. That was O'Donnell Fortune, who had a chance for the pickoff as it was intended for Ryan Williams.
Yeah, they brought a blitz, and there was a free guy coming off the edge, and it forced a high throw from Jalen Milroe. He just had to get rid of this thing, and it changed the trajectory. Very lucky. That was tipped and almost fell right into the hands of Fortune. We talked about this defense thriving on takeaways, 10 on the season. That's 2nd in the SEC. More often than not, those plays, Joe, they've been going their way.
Bama only 1 of 4 today on 3rd down. Here's a 3rd and 5. Milroe with Kennard chasing, more pressure, and they get to him. How about this Gamecocks defense with Knight finishing it up, getting to Jalen Milroe?
Well, that time it looked as though Alabama's offensive line was sliding away from Kyle Kennard and working to the other side with Stewart, and it's the 2nd time now in the last 2 drives that no one's worried about Kennard coming off the edge. It's just too much speed. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about with Nick Sheridan, you got to always know where he is. You got to have a plan for him. There was just absolutely nothing Jalen Milroe could do on that play.
He is so disruptive, isn't he, Jesse?
Well, he's been wrecking games, Joe. He's been living in people's backfields. You can just see the speed he has off the edge is just unbelievable.
2nd punt of the day for Burnham. Outside the numbers, takes an excellent bounce before McDowell fields it.
Well, the pass rush for South Carolina, that's been a big story in this game, and there's a variety of problems. Now, you at home all know about Kennard at this point. 254 pounds, his get-off is so explosive, and he has the ability to bend around the edge. He gets to you in 3.13 seconds, but on the other side now, you've got a true freshman at 6'6", 248, and Stewart. If you pump fake and you don't get rid of it, that's too much time. You can't double team both of these guys. That's the problem. And when the speed both gets up the field, it's a quarterback sandwich. I mean, they just push tackles and collapse the pocket. This is a big reason why, Joe, this is one of the best pass defenses, not just in the SEC, but the entire country. They've got first-round talent on both edges coming upfield.
Great combination. Robbie Ashford comes in at quarterback. Former starter at Auburn, good runner himself. There was some movement on the right side of the line. Came in last week on the second series for South Carolina with a package as well.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, normally when Robbie Ashford is in the game, there's a quarterback run, or they're going to be running the football. So it'll be interesting to see how that impacts Alabama's defense, and with personnel playing maybe more man coverage, maybe adding more guys to the box. They're just substituting some fresh linebackers, trying to get more speed on the field, anticipating QB run.
After the penalty, 1st and 15. Here is the quarterback run with Robbie Ashford. You can see the burst that he provides, tackled by Campbell.
And Alabama knows all about that too, and fans certainly know all about that, because when Robbie Ashford was at Auburn a few years ago in 2022, he ran for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game.
He was 3-7 as the starting quarterback at Auburn. Did have a big home win against Mizzou in overtime. Had a big win against A&M when he was down there on the Plains. Keeps it this time, nearly tackled for a loss, and then has to wiggle his way just to make something of it as a flag is down. The tackle came in from Saab.
Yeah, Gage Larvadan at receiver, I think, may have got called for holding there, but you're seeing Bama play their safeties really close to the line of scrimmage, expecting Ashford to keep the football.
Matt Loeffler, our SEC referee today.
Holding. Offense, number 7. 10-yard penalty. Correction, half the distance. Penalty. Replay, second down.
It's a senior receiver, Larvadan.
It's kind of the cat and mouse game now with the secondary here in Alabama, down Damani Jackson because of the injury. So you've got a true freshman, Jalen Mbakwe, now taking his place. You got to make big plays here against the pass.
You set it up for Attaway, and Attaway is pursued down at the 12-yard line. Robbie Ashford again, the quarterback. He's from not far away in Hoover, Alabama. Began his college football career at Oregon, then went to Auburn, and now at South Carolina.
Yeah, and Lenora Sellers comes back out on the field for South Carolina at quarterback. And Bama doesn't blitz a lot. They only blitz on 9% of their opponent drops. That's fewest in the country. But you wonder against a redshirt freshman in Sellers if that's something that maybe Kane Womack, defensive coordinator, is willing to do more of in this game.
So here's now Sellers on 3rd and 9. Man in his face. Somehow kept his footing and then goes downfield where he nearly connects with Larvadan.
That's just a play you have to be able to make if you're South Carolina in this game. LT Overton able to slide inside. He's the one that initially gets the pressure on Sellers, and I don't know how Sellers kept his balance and got out of this, got his eyes back downfield, found Larvadan. And for a guy that was a bit banged up the first 3 games, he's really been coming on for South Carolina these last 2, but that's a catch you need to make. You're not going to get a lot of those opportunities.
Kai Kroger from a yard into his end zone as he sky punts this and drives it 2019 season. Look at these numbers as this game separated by a touchdown, but each team has had 21 plays. And each team with a time of possession of 10 minutes and 55 seconds. Jalen Milroe with the touchdown run on a very good-looking opening drive from Alabama. But since then, the South Carolina defense has responded. Jan Miller out of the backfield.
And it's just a very good, quick decision by Jalen Miller at that time. He's watching Debo Williams at linebacker, and he freezes him with his eyes for just a second and immediately gets the ball out and spits it to Jan Miller. He just has such a good command of this offense. Each and every week you see more and more confidence, quicker decision-making, and firm command of everything that Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan are throwing at.
13 yards to Miller. Here's the first down run as Jan Miller. Those defensive ends went straight upfield, and Miller went straight ahead.
But make no mistake about it, too. This is a money game for Jalen Milroe with respect to his NFL evaluation. NFL evaluators, scouts, coaches want to see how you do against the best competition. You've already seen South Carolina, one of the best pass defenses with that pass rush they have.
2nd and 2. Will be another first down as Miller a bruising run.
And Milroe had a money game a few weeks ago against Georgia.
Yes.
And just played out of his mind. If he does that again here today against this defense, then Joe, I really do think you got to start talking about Jalen Milroe being in consideration as the first overall pick in next year's NFL draft.
Had a great visit with him yesterday. I turned to you last night at dinner. I said he's going to be so impressive when he sits for his interviews during the combine. Ooh. He keeps it and does it in smart fashion as Milroe breaks free and gets out of bounds at the 13-yard line.
It's a good, quick decision in the zone read game, and he had to make it because Dylan Stewart came flying in off the edge and absolutely blows Jan Miller up. But as soon as that happens, it's not just making quick decisions, Joe, throwing the football like we've seen. You got to do it in the run game, too, and that's what I'm talking about. Just everything is firing for Jalen Miller right now, throwing and running the ball.
27-yard run from Milroe.
You got to be ready for more quarterback run here. They love it out of the empty set. South Carolina's got everybody within 6 yards of the ball.
Going to do it again with blockers in front and gets out at about the 7. Katie.
Yeah, Tess, Kalen DeBoer was actually arguing with the refs. He said Stewart led the crowd of the helmet going against Jan Miller there.
Oof. They may not be wrong, Katie. I mean, that was probably the biggest impact we've seen so far in this game, and Jan Miller in that case is a defenseless player.
Aaron Milroe told us yesterday, said we had to be honest with each other this week. It was all about embracing hardship and wanting to improve. Second and 4. Quarterback run again, and Milroe will make it 1st and goal.
And that's so tough to stop, too. And you got Parker Brailsford, the Washington transfer at center that time, showing off his athleticism and pulling around. And it's a 225-pound quarterback. You got to slow down his momentum. You've got Kilgore wrapping him up around the ankles. You've got DQ Smith doing his best to try to get him down. I mean, he is just a load. When you get that extra blocker because of the quarterback run, it just makes this offense so difficult to stop down in the red zone.
First and goal. Haynes into the end zone. Touchdown, tie.
And the thing is, because of Jalen Milroe's running ability, then when you hand it off, you're freezing defenders because they think he might keep it himself. So off the edge that time, Jalen Kilgore and Nick Emanwari, they weren't totally sure if they were going to get the 3rd run in a row from the quarterback spot. That just gave a little bit more of a crease for Alabama to run that thing in.
As Nicholson will add the extra point. Now, Bama was struggling to run the ball prior to that drive. Just had 10. That is as good as it gets coming up right here on ABC in what has been an outrageously fickle SEC season to this point. It's something Dana White would absolutely love this season of the SEC, right? Because 5 top 10 teams have lost. Texas just sits back and watches all the chaos. Don't worry, they got Georgia coming up. And you think about what lies ahead. 14 ranked matchups in this SEC cage match. That's the toughest strength of schedule of any conference. Did I see the chicken make?
Yeah, the chicken made it in again in the cartoon. It does every week. But it is incredible, Joe. It's true. You know, in years past, it's been Bama and Georgia and everybody else. This year, though, just maybe because of stylistically, it just feels like anybody can get anybody on any given Saturday.
Lenoris Sellers extending the play and then goes and gets it to Rocket Sanders.
I'm glad we had the MMA analogy there because it's true. I think in recent weeks you've seen like the wrestler ground and pounder.
Yes.
beat and knock out the high-flying striker that closes games early. You saw it when Kentucky beat Ole Miss and Arkansas beating Tennessee, Vanderbilt beating Alabama. The SEC this year just feels a little bit different and with more parity.
Next week, you're going to have Hernandez versus Pereira on what will be a big UFC Saturday and a huge SEC Saturday next week as well.
I walked behind Pereira, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah, at Fanatics Fest.
What's his vibe?
No, dude, it's just that he's 6'4", and he walks around probably carrying 225 pounds. I don't know why anybody wants to fight that guy.
One of the most dangerous people on earth.
And cuts weight, gets in the octagon, and just ruins people.
Can't wait to see that one. Here's first down. Sellers is going to check down again to Rocket Sanders, who lost his footing.
This is a big drive here for South Carolina too, Joe, because they're going to receive first in the second half. So they've got an opportunity, a little under 3.5 minutes here, to march down the field, try and score some points and gain some momentum going into halftime.
Second and 7. They pick up the pressure. Quick strike on the slant. Harbor, the big-bodied 6'5", 235-pound track star, Nick Harbor.
Yeah, and there's backup corners in the game now for Alabama. Remember, Damani Jackson is hurt. That time, Deshaun Jones outside getting beat on the slant. Good quick decision by Sellers moving the sticks.
9-yard reception, so that's a first down. Just short of midfield. Under 3 minutes to go. Rocket Sanders will cross midfield. Here comes South Carolina with an opportunity.
And that's the push I'm talking about that South Carolina has to be able to create up front. Sanders, he's a 230-pound back, and he's not a linear runner. He can cut, but you've got to give him a second to get that momentum and that speed going. And that time there was a much better push up front for the offensive line.
2nd and 5. Will keep it. Sellers going to try to bounce it, and you see that speed and those natural gifts to turn on the wheels and get the first down.
And there was a huge fight out there that time with Mazio Bennett, the true freshman wide receiver, blocking one-on-one against Devontae Smith. Not an easy guy to do it, and Sellers shows you the speed. That ankle's looking pretty good, but a nice job on the perimeter blocking that time by South Carolina's true freshman receiver.
2-minute timeout while South Carolina has offensive momentum. Can they get on the board and cut into this Alabama lead? Sanders and quarterback Lenoris Sellers, that dynamic duo trying to get the Gamecocks on the board. First down, design quarterback run. Sellers found traffic up the middle, so just able to get to the outside. So first down comparison. Alabama's done well on first down with 10.5 yards per play. The struggle down and distance that you see on the South Carolina side.
Well, it's a big situation here for Lenoris Sellers, too, a quarterback with decision making. You need to come away with points here before the end of the half. He's done a good job so far, Joe, with that. 9 of 11 in this game. Just taking care of the football, making the right decisions.
2nd and 8. Edge pressure extends the play, but just throws it away.
As Malachi Moore coming off the edge that time on a delayed blitz, and the true freshman left tackle Josiah Thompson was slow seeing it. He's kind of got his eyes peeking in here, and this is where the pressure is going to come from outside. And on this big third down now, the edge is the concern. That's been the concern all season for this South Carolina offense. These tackles being able to hold up, because you know Bama now, they're going to be trying to get upfield.
3rd down and 8. And the crowd fully engaged here at Saban Field. Sellers had to quickly get it out and can't get anywhere. The true freshman Bennett was undercut by Mbakwe.
And that time, Nick Harbor at receiver has got to do a better job blocking on the perimeter. Mbakwe flies in to make this play, but right here, you got to get that block. And Harbor doesn't have his eyes in the right place and just makes it very easy on the number 2 overall prospect coming out of high school last year, Mbakwe, to make a here with Orlovsky showing back up too. So props to my guy.
4th down and 9 for South Carolina. Sellers on 4th down with time. Gonna take a strike to the end zone, and a touchdown scored by Bennett. Wide open, Mazio Bennett, touchdown, Kakalaka.
Well, it was a fantastic design by South Carolina. They had a post on the outside, and that's going to occupy this safety, and it's Mazio Bennett on the inside taking his time on the wheel route, and there was nobody deep in the third for Alabama. Really nice design and play call here by Dowell Logans. Dowell Logans, the offensive coordinator, on a 4th and forever, and they come up with a huge play.
4th down. There's his dad, Norris. As Lenoris Sellers, spectacular on 4th down.
And explosive plays in the passing game for South Carolina this year have been few and far between. Really hard to come by, but the true freshman Bennett, man, he's been the most consistent option on these plays, and just love this concept. You see a corner just kind of biting and staying shallow on the underneath throw. And that allows Lenoris Sellers to take advantage and throw it up top over his head. That was Xavier Mincy, a true freshman, at corner that time. We talked about, again, the injury to Damani Jackson and how that's now affecting this Alabama secondary. A lot of inexperience out on the field. And Xavier Mincy, a guy that was very highly recruited, but just hasn't had a lot of snaps so far this year, and Shane Beamer and South Carolina's offense able to take advantage.
Shane Beamer, who told us the other day, he said Bennett has an edge to him. Even for a true freshman, you just feel that the stage is never too big for him. He embraces it all. And right there on 4th and 9, coming up with a 36-yard touchdown reception. 14-7.
And whether it's design QB runs now, he's been in full control, and he's really been that way all season.
Half the distance of the goal, it'll be 1st down.
There was a flag that came in late on that kickoff return. So a 4th down conversion. Jesse, by the way, opponents this year against Bama are 12 of 16 on 4th down.
Yeah, again, it doesn't matter if it's 3rd or 4th. Getting off the field in critical down and distances, that continues to be the problem. And so now offensively, Joe, you've got Jalen Milroe. There's 1:37 seconds to go. You've got 2 timeouts in your back pocket. To me, Milroe has played at a high enough level these last several weeks particularly to be aggressive here in a 2-minute situation and try and throw this football down the field to get into position to steal some points before the end of the half.
Let's see how they manage it. Milroe just had to get rid of it as he was drifting back into the end zone, and the officials are going to talk this one over.
That should be a safety. That should be intentional grounding.
That was Kyle Kennard again, and the flag comes in, and Shane Beamer says, is that a safety? I want a safety out of this.
There was no receiver in the area where he threw it. He threw it at his right tackle's feet, Elijah Pritchett. He was outside of the tackle box, but that football has to cross the line of scrimmage for it not to be intentional grounding.
Safety's on the board.
Wow. And what an impact Kyle Kennard has had in this game early for South Carolina defensively. They have not been able to handle him. There have been times where they just haven't blocked him. And that time just way too soft off the right side. There's Kennard here, and you're going to see there's no Alabama receiver to this right side of the field. He gets chipped, he's off the ball, and it's sort of a delayed rush. But because of the pressure coming from the backside and Dylan Stewart, it forced Milroe to kind of flow to his right side, and you just see how quickly, at 255 pounds, Kyle Kennard is able to close the gap.
And how quickly the gap has been closed on the scoreboard. A 4th and 9 just a minute ago to all of a sudden 9 points on the board. 14-9 all of a sudden.
An incredible swing, and now all the momentum back with South Carolina.
As James Burnip on the free kick. That settles in there. You got to field that ball. And a flag comes in at the end of that.
Loverdane on the return.
So a span of just
Offside
9 seconds.
On the kicking team, number 13. That penalty be forced from the end of the run. First down.
In a span of 9 seconds, South Carolina scores 9 points.
And here's 4th down. This is Mazeo Bennett in the slot. He's running the wheel route. Bama's got nobody back in the deep third. There's a bit of a bust by the corner, and they take advantage. And then right away on the next possession, you get the delayed rush here by Kennard. They're able to get the safety. And now, Joe, with that last penalty on the kick, South Carolina's got the ball close to midfield again, and they've got all 3 timeouts in their back pocket with 1 minute and 24 seconds to go. They could go down and score some more.
What a turn. What a turn of events here. And keep in mind the injury at cornerback for Alabama as well. Sellers quickly gets it out as he goes to Simon, the big tight end.
And it's a nice job by Simon understanding the situation, right? In a 2-minute drill, you're catching that inbounds, you're turning around and getting out as quick as possible to try to save as much time on the clock.
All 3 timeouts remain for South Carolina. Orbit motion. Sellers looks over the middle, gets it complete. Another first down as he goes to Campbell.
The game clock's going to stop here just while they reset the chain. So you've got some time now to communicate the play. You got to get the play call in quickly and get it communicated to the rest of the team. South Carolina taking a lot of time right now. I'm surprised they're not calling a timeout, or they're not trying to run a play faster. They're wasting lots of seconds.
Sellers on first down. He is pressure. That ball's loose. That is recovered by Alabama, as that was a sloppy play by Sellers. It's being ruled a forced fumble by Campbell, and Koo with the recovery. They may argue that this was a forward pass.
Recovered by Alabama for a first down.
You be the judge.
Well, it looked like when he threw it, he almost threw it off his own helmet to me live when I was watching it.
That's about as ugly as could be.
Yeah, and give Jahad Campbell tons of credit for beating the right tackle and getting in and getting his hands around Sellers. But wow.
He's attempting to pass the ball. Let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin. What do you say, Matty?
This is going to be a tough one for replay, because does he have firm control of the ball and bring his hand forward, or is he throwing this backwards? If it's backwards, it doesn't matter if it's a fumble or a pass. It's the loose ball, right, and whoever comes up with it.
Just like a lateral.
Exactly.
I mean, you got to have a compass on that one. He's spinning around. He has no idea where he is. He's attempting to throw the ball, but does that even constitute a forward pass?
And he's showing you his inexperience on that play too, Joe, yeah. Right? Only a redshirt freshman. In that kind of situation, you can't take a sack, but you can't compound the problem by doing something like this. It's hard just reading his body language, figuring out what he was trying to do in the first place. Was he trying to hold on to it, throw it away? Was he hook-shotting it, no look behind his back? You don't know. But, you know, at that point, when you're all wrapped up by Campbell, you just got to go down.
Here's the view you need to see. Is this a forward pass at all? Does it go forward? Because that's what Matt Austin explained, and that's the easiest way to come up with the answer. Matt?
Yeah, looking at the close-up view, to me it looks like he notices that he's going to throw the ball backwards, and he tries to stop his hand, and the ball pops out at that point. So I think this is a fumble.
Ruling on the field is a fumble, with an Alabama recovery by Koo.
I'll tell you, if this ends up staying a fumble, what a job by Bama's defense too. Kind of in a sudden change situation where you've just given up a safety. You're able to get the ball back here. You're close to midfield, and you've got time left for Jalen Milroe to go to work. So this is a massive, massive call in this game.
Well, ever since we hit the 2-minute timeout, this game has gone wacky, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's 14-zip Alabama, and all of a sudden a 4th and 9, a big touchdown to Bennett, a 36-yarder, and then the very next offensive play, the safety. You be the judge here. Yeah, this is right down the line. You should be able to see it.
And the ruling on the field is it's a fumble, so you're looking for indisputable video evidence to have to overturn that.
Is this a forward pass, or as ruled on the field, a fumble by Sellers?
I think I agree with Matt. I think Sellers was trying to hold on to it. right there. I think he's still trying to squeeze it, and then it kind of just slips out of his hand at the last second. I think that's a fumble, Joe.
I would agree with you.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It's a fumble.
And that is an Alabama fumble recovery. Campbell forced it, Cooten recovered it, and the Bama defense denies South Carolina's golden opportunity here before halftime.
Absolute crazy sequence of events these last 3 drives, and Alabama now in great field position. Here's the guy you got to focus on. Number 5 for South Carolina. Where's Kyle Kennard? And we have to get him blocked. He has been wrecking the game for South Carolina's defense in this first half.
Couple of sacks, scored the safety moments ago. That's Bama's 3rd sack today. That happened moments ago. That ties a season high. They had 3 against USF. 48 seconds and 2 timeouts for Jalen Milroe, who's going to run the ball, and he's taken down. A tackle for loss.
Guess who? Kyle Kennard. That time slanting inside the right tackle, Elijah Pritchett. It's not just in pass plays. He's everywhere. And by the way, it doesn't matter who's been trying to block him. Everybody's getting some. Against Will Campbell, who might be the first tackle taken in the draft from LSU, Kyle Kennard was up in his business. He's been beating you upfield, upfield, upfield. Tackles start to set. They're a little bit hesitant, and Kennard's able to dive inside and make a play. Just remarkable.
Well, he is isn't it amazing? Because this is really what we focused in on all week long, is saying, hey, there's a front 7 of South Carolina now that you have something to deal with if you're Jalen Milroe, and Kennard has completely delivered on that assignment.
Isn't it amazing the luxury you have when you can get a pass rush with just 4 guys and keep 7 in coverage, eyes on the quarterback? That's why they get takeaways, but you've got special talent coming off that edge in the Georgia Tech transfer for Kennard that nobody's been able to block consistently this year.
His first year at South Carolina, he has completely over-delivered on expectations, playing his very best today, and that front gets to him again. This time it's Tonka Hemingway. Man, oh man, is South Carolina firing off on that defensive line.
It was a bad job by Jaden Roberts at right guard first, and then it was bad by Justice Haynes at running back, trying to get a chip. 2 guys miss him. What a great job spinning into the backfield at 288 pounds. And Clayton White, my old teammate, we were rookies together in the New York Giants. Man, he is dialing it up right now.
He was a great player at NC State before he came to you on the Giants there. He led them in TFLs and single game tackles. And just a disruptive defensive player himself. As another timeout is going to be used by Alabama. 10 seconds remaining in this first half. What's supposed to be the bounce back game, the get well remedy game back at home for what last week was one of the biggest upsets we've ever seen, instead has come to be a big fight for Alabama.
And you got to give South Carolina tons of credit too, Joe, because yeah, Bama lost to Vandy. People forget South Carolina lost by 24 points at home and didn't score a touchdown against Ole Miss. So I think a big question was, were they going to come into this game with any confidence, or were they going to walk in here with their tail between their legs? They have matched the intensity that Alabama has brought here to the park. And on defense, they are flying around right now with a purpose. They came to get this W. You've got to give Shane Beamer and this coaching staff tons of credit for getting this team ready to roll.
Milroe, final seconds here before halftime. That ball's picked off. That is picked up by Kilgore. Kilgore, seconds remaining. They've got zeros on the clock for right now. He stepped out at the 19. If they put time back on the clock, South Carolina's going to have a chance.
Kilgore, that's his 3rd pick of the year, and this is a decision that Jalen Milroe has not been making this season, forcing a deep crossing route into zone coverage. Kilgore makes him pay, and Joe, watching that live, it looked to me like he got out of bounds before the game clock was at zeros. Let's take a look at this again. Slow developing play. That's a dangerous throw and decision. And Kilgore not only making the pick, but getting downfield. See, right there, he's out of bounds. It looks like 3 seconds to go on the game clock here. An opportunity for Alex Herrera in South Carolina to try to get a field goal off.
Herrera comes in for the field goal attempt. He's 7 of 10 on the season. Jalen Kilgore coming up huge, and will it cash in for 3 unexpected points for upset-seeking South Carolina. Herrera puts it through. What an absolute wild final couple of minutes here in Tuscaloosa.
With us, but the other key was we got to finish, and we got to be better on third down offensively. We can't turn the ball over, but you know we got a very confident team. We had that coming in here, and big series to start the second half here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
False start. Offense, number 3. 5-yard penalty. It is first down.
Jesse, that deal with us mentality, that is exactly what Vanderbilt did last week, especially in the second half.
Absolutely, and I think if you're looking at the defense now for South Carolina, Joe, they smell blood in the water. They feel like they're dominating. I think the key offensively now is you had a bad turnover at the end of the first half. That can't happen again. You've got to play error-free here in the second half if you're going to win this game.
Rocket Sanders takes it ahead for South Carolina.
And that's a good start. You know, it starts with your ability to run the football. You got to be physical. You got to keep third downs manageable. You got to help out your redshirt freshman quarterback and give him play-action passing opportunities. So you can do that by trying to get Rock Sanders going here in the run game.
Sellers on 2nd and 9 will give it to him again, and it'll be third down from there. Tackle by Campbell.
And the problem now in these situations for South Carolina has been the edge. Their tackles have been very soft, and it's been that way for the first half of this season. Has not given Sellers a lot of time. You know, we talk about how Alabama's got to do a better job protecting Milroe. Well, the same can be said for South Carolina in these third down situations too. When they've given Sellers time, he's 13 of 16 throwing the football. He's making the right reads, but he's got to have an opportunity to find open guys.
3rd and 5. He pumps and then runs, and with that, it's a first down, South Carolina.
And there was a good example that time of trying to help him out with a scheme in pass pro. Michael Smith is going to come in motion at tight end this way. He's just going to get a chip here before going upfield. That just softens the edge a little bit of Keanu Coote, and it gives a little bit more time for Sellers there. Nobody open. You take off and you go. Nice job by Dowell Logans, the offensive coordinator, mixing up his pass pro scheme.
For first third down conversion today, and now Rocket Sanders is able to make his way out to the 34.
Yeah, man, he's 230 pounds, Joe. He's one of those backs that wears you down. Those body blows, right? Like a boxer in like a heavyweight fight. Those 1 and 2 and 3 yard gains early, those become 5, 6, 7 yard gains later. People don't like to tackle that guy in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
You brought it up last time he faced Bama. He went for over 100 yards. 2nd and 4. Look at that push. It'll be 3rd and inches at Rousseau with the tackle.
It's a completely different game when you're in 3rd and short as an offense. As a play caller, as a quarterback, you have everything at your disposal, and you put the defense on their heels. A defense, by the way, Joe, that is playing a lot of true freshmen at cornerback right now. 3 different guys are in the rotation now that Damani Jackson is out, and you wonder in the second half if those are matchups that Lenora Sellers is going to want to take advantage of.
3rd and 1. Straight ahead and a first down for South Carolina. And Bakwe had to come in for the injured Damani Jackson. Of course, Xavier Brown, the other true freshman corner. Katie.
Got word. Good news for Alabama, guys. I just got word. Jackson is available to return. He's got his helmet on. He's standing on the sidelines waiting for his moment to run in.
Right now, Deshaun Jones is out at one corner spot. You got a true freshman out at the other.
Sellers, pocket collapsing. He escapes. Pumps again, turns the corner, and you see the wheels of Lenora Sellers. Remember, he had a 75-yard touchdown against LSU, and it's another first down for South Carolina.
Well, there's a mistake that time by Jamarian Latham at defensive end. He loses contain and dips inside. When that happens, you lose your pass rush integrity against a 243-pound quarterback that can move like that. He's going to make you pay for it. Good decision by Sellers. He's been making a lot of good decisions in this game so far, Joe, outside of the one turnover at the end of the half.
Attaway, as he makes his way inside the 45.
Yeah, this is good on this drive as they've looked running the ball probably since LSU, Joe. And now they're pulling backside players, getting more bodies at the point of attack. And they're trying to be physical, and they're trying to establish the line of scrimmage. It's a good sign early, I think, if you're Shane Beamer watching your offense.
Opening drive of the second half. Sellers. He is sacked that time. That was Latham crashing down on Lenoris Sellers.
Well, Latham's working against a true freshman in Josiah Thompson, who really has his hands full here. And we saw it last time, him go inside and lose contain. This time, just kind of posts him up. Great job hand fighting and knocking the hands away of the tackle to get leverage to cut inside and get to the QB.
Third down and 15. Drives the ball complete over the middle for a first down to Bennett. Bennett comes up huge again. He had the fourth down touchdown, and now this conversion.
Another great job in pass pro scheme by Dow Logans. This time, Oscar Attaway at running back is going to get a chip right here. And that really softens the edge again. You saw it with the tight end earlier, that time against LT Overton. You're doing different things now to give Sellers time, and I love it. It's not just counting on your tackles to do it all by themselves. You can use all the tools in your toolbox. You've got your tight ends, you've got your running backs, and there's a lot of creative ways that you can give Sellers an opportunity.
A 22-yard catch by Bennett on 3rd and 15. And Jesse, consider this, that in the first half, they were 0 for 5 on 3rd down.
Yep.
On this drive to open up the second half, 3 for 3.
Yep. That's what Shane Beamer was just telling Katie right before half. We've got to do a better job of executing and in those opportunities, making the plays. And you got to give this offensive line a lot of credit, Joe. I'll say it. I think they're the weak link from a positional standpoint on this entire team. But this first drive of the second half, they've been lights out.
Attaway, not much there. It'll be 3rd and about 2 yards.
And it's interesting, right? Because they've struggled up front in run blocking and pass pro, picking up blitzes and stunts. And it's an experienced group, Joe. They have 174 starts between them. The same 5 guys have started all 6 games this year, but they've been way too inconsistent. They're gelling here before your eyes.
Thirteenth play of this second half opening drive coming for upset-minded South Carolina. 3rd down and 2. Sellers shuffles it ahead to Attaway. Here goes Attaway inside the 10. It is 1st and goal, South Carolina.
Vanderbilt was killing Alabama last week with shovel passes. They hit him twice with it with big gains, and South Carolina steals a play from the Vanderbilt playbook here. Rolling Sellers to the left. You think he's going to throw it to his tight end, Simon, in the flat. Instead, underhand delivers to Attaway, who had the great chip block a few plays ago on 3rd down. Now making a big one on that shovel.
And to your point, Jesse, and to what Coach told Katie, now 4 for 4 on 3rd downs. And Sanders can't find much against the middle of that defense.
And this is where Alabama has to bow up now. With their backs against the wall, they've been out on the field a long time now. And someone's got to step up and make a play. You can't allow one of college football's best players, Jalen Miller, just be sitting on the sideline waiting. You got to find ways to get him back on. And
look at this clock.
It's just ticking away and evaporating. This is the perfect scenario drive for South Carolina.
You can't script a better second half opening drive unless you score. Sellers. And will they do that right here as fighting his way to the 1-yard line is Joshua Simon?
That's a throw. I wonder if that had been out a little bit in front of Simon, if he could have caught that and turned upfield. They had a bit of a pick play scenario. Because the throw was behind him, it killed his momentum. But here's an opportunity, too, in a short yardage situation. The big back like Sanders, you got a 243-pound quarterback, 3rd and goal. Somebody large needs to be carrying this ball.
That's Maurice Brown, who's lined up as the offset running back as Rocket Sanders takes it in, and South Carolina takes the lead at Bama.
And Rocket Sanders just ran through 245-pound Jihad Campbell right at the line of scrimmage. I said it earlier, Sanders, one of the best short yardage goal line running backs I've seen this year. Runs with great pad level. Campbell has a chance to make this stop right at the line of scrimmage, but low man wins, and that's Sanders. What a drive to start the second half if you're South Carolina.
I mean, Jesse, as perfect as could be in every way. Time consuming, yard gaining, third down converting, bullying by the offensive line, tremendous play designs, and in the end, crossing that goal line and striking with gold. It's 9th favorite game I've ever done. Each and every year I've ever done that game, I just love everything about it. Here is Henderson on the return as he is met. Ball comes out! The ball comes out! As Alabama looks to have recovered, and they have. And things are getting crazy here. We just had an 8-minute and 40-second drive. And you know South Carolina is fired up when you see special teams efforts like this. They are playing with intensity. That is Joe DeCamillos' group. David Busey coming in strong. And now finally Jalen Milroe is out on the field. 6:14 remaining in the third, and the first time we see him in this second half as he gets it complete to Cole Adams, who kept his balance and goes for more.
Yeah, I want to watch this again. I wasn't sure if his left knee touched the ground. I'm curious if they're going to take a look at this, because it looked like at this point right here he's spinning out of it.
Watch the knees on a defender's body.
Wow.
And such awareness to just roll over the defender. Jam Miller now on first down, and he gets it out just past midfield.
Yeah, and I know we've been talking a lot about the pressure that South Carolina's been able to get on Jalen Milroe, mostly because of Kyle Kennard. And I just wonder if you're Alabama now in the passing game, if you start thinking about moving the launch point in the pocket, not just letting number 5 pin his ears back, expecting him to be 8 yards behind the center. You got to start moving Milroe around a little bit, not make him an easy target.
Kennard was the most dominant player in the first half today. What kind of impact will he make here as Miller struggles to get much? It'll be third down. South Carolina defense, they have been the story as Kennard comes up with another tackle.
He's had a lot of success in this game working on the right side against Elijah Pritchett at right tackle. They've been getting tons of pressure on multiple drops, and right now Alabama doesn't have a tight end or running back over to that side, so Kennard is one-on-one with the tackle.
3rd and 5. You saw the 4 sacks against Milroe, the most of any team so far this season. Here's third down. Milroe, quick strike, and connects with Jeremy Bernard for a first down, Alabama.
Well, South Carolina had a lot of bodies close to the line of scrimmage, but they were bluffing. They didn't blitz anybody, and that gave Milroe just a little bit of time, a little bit of a hesitation, and a pump fake here to the right, just allowing his guy to get open, and he finds Bernard right over the middle of the field.
13-yard reception by Jeremy Bernard, the transfer from Washington. Play action. Going against the grain, back to the tight end. C.J. Dupree is upended. What a great play by O'Donnell Fortune.
It's been fun watching him on film, Joe. He really is the complete cornerback. He likes to cover, obviously, but he's also not afraid to put his face in the fan. And you saw it right there. He likes to tackle. Coming up on a tight end, I like the play call because you're throwing a screen against this pass rush. You're trying to let the defensive ends get upfield, but that's a nice job of seeing it and making the stop by Fortune.
And now 2nd and 17 because of their 7th tackle for loss on the day. Milroe drives the ball and nearly intercepted. He was looking for Bernard, and Judge Collier was making a diving attempt for the pick.
And that's very, very close. Throwing the ball over the middle of the field. Tips oftentimes lead to picks. Jalen Milroe very lucky. Bernard pops it up in the air. Man, Collier almost there to scoop it up. Now, Kyle Kennard has come back out on the field again, and he's working that right side. This time they've got a tight end over to that side as well to potentially help out. Milroe with the time. 3rd
down and 17. Milroe. Incomplete. far to the outside of Bernard. Kilgore had coverage. Kilgore had the big interception before halftime to set up the field.
And that's the thing, Joe. I mean, they're a great pass defense. They're giving up only 54% completions to quarterbacks, which is the lowest in the SEC. But it's not just Kennard up front. They've got all the pieces. They've got corners that are playing at a high level. They've got ball hawks at safety. You mentioned Kilgore, Eman Wari, 5 interceptions apiece. I mean, it's every level of this defense. People are good when you're trying to throw it. And that's what makes it so difficult to move the football.
Boy, and that tackle for loss on that series, that really did it. And now Burnham just trying to get the pin punt as he goes out of bounds.
Really been impressed with just the execution and just how physical South Carolina was up front on that last drive.
Used 8 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock. Sanders straight ahead. They're very committed to the run. A 19-14 lead that came with a spark before halftime, Jesse. This thing was 14-7.
Yeah,
Alabama. And I had that 4th and 9.
You're so right. And I think the end of that first half, it just galvanized the entire team. And we've seen guys now flying around, obviously on defense, but the offense looks different now in the second half. We saw a huge hit on the kickoff here a few seconds ago. Everybody getting involved.
Norris Sellers driven back. And it'll be 3rd down from there.
All right, in the last couple 3rd downs in these situations, Sellers has had to do it himself. Pass pro is broken down, and we've seen Dowell Loggins do a nice job creatively trying to do a better job of protecting him with tight ends and running backs chipping, but they're just putting a lot on Sellers' shoulders right now. You just kind of feel like every 3rd and long, he's going to probably have to do something superhuman.
Third down and 5. Sellers gets it out quickly, but it's going to be well short of the line to gain as Simon saw Lawson right on top of him.
Well, I like the call by defensive coordinator Kane Womack because he brings the safety blitz, which forces the early throw. And a nice job there by Lawson being in position to make. Here comes the safety blitz. So that's the right decision by Sellers. He's got to get rid of it. Sometimes as a defense, you dial up those pressures, trying to dictate to the offense, and that was a good example of it.
As this umbrella punts at midfield, there's a lot of traffic there as Colt Adams was fielding it. What will Jalen Milroe have for an answer now? Matter for Alabama right now are 19-14. The score, trailing at home to an unranked South Carolina team. It'll change everything if it holds up. As Justice Haynes is wrapped up after just a gain of 1.
You know a name you haven't called a lot tonight, Joe? Ryan Williams.
Do they
the stud 17-year-old true freshman who's been making so many big plays in the passing game for Alabama. He only has 2 catches for 7 yards so far. I think a big part of the problem is that they don't feel comfortable with Jalen Milroe holding on to the ball to give him an opportunity to get deep down the field because of this pass rush from South Carolina. But number 2 is a guy that has to get involved.
2nd and 8. Here's Milroe. Milroe pressured again. Has to check down again. And Haynes with blockers in front. And a 1st down Alabama. Did they ever make the most of that?
So here's the situation, Joe, where right now Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart are not on the field for South Carolina. They're 2 best pass rushers. Maybe if you're Alabama, this is where you want to take that shot. This might be where you feel comfortable enough. Hey, if Jalen Milroe wants to hold on to it, we need to take a shot to Ryan Williams down the field. This is the look we need to get.
Closing seconds of the 3rd quarter. Here's Milroe as he bursts ahead for a good run. And we are going to head to the 4th quarter with Alabama trailing. This is the SEC on ABC, presented by Tom's Gummy Bites. It returns after this message and a word from our ABC station.
I mean, you know, every game's going to be like this, and you talk about playing 4 quarters, and that's what we have to do right here. We have to play 4 quarters, and we got a chance right here to go ahead, and let's do it. But it comes down to just doing the little things, okay? Focus, composed, and be just being there for each other.
Thank you.
Milroe on 2nd and 1, and he will get the first down.
225 pounds, and he might be the fastest guy in the field, and the guy he just outran to the corner, Dylan Stewart, is not an easy guy to outrun.
Look at this third quarter here. Look at what South Carolina was able to do against Alabama in that third quarter.
That's essentially what Vanderbilt did the entire game. They just kept the football. They stayed on the field. They kept Jalen Milroe off to the sidelines, converted third downs, and scored points.
14.5 minutes to play, and Alabama trailing at home by 5 to unranked South Carolina. Milroe, quarterback run. And did he ever have a pathway with Brailsford?
And listen, I think being down 5 points in the fourth quarter now, your best player has to touch the football. He's got to carry the football, and he's probably going to get beat up, and that's what it looks like with Jalen Milroe. But make no mistake, he's the best athlete on the field right now. And big-time players make big plays in big games, and this is a big moment for Jalen Milroe.
Looking to retake the lead. They were up 14-zip, 19 unanswered points by a fiery Gamecocks team. Milroe trying to set up, and he will just have to throw it away. That was Kyle Kennard again impacting.
It's amazing, and they're trying to move the pocket. We talked about that earlier. Nick Sheridan, their play caller, potentially moving the launch point and to try to change it up, and still Kennard's able to make an impact on the play. I like the throwaway decision there by Milroe. You keep this thing 2nd and short. Or 3rd and 1 now, but they just have not found a way consistently to negate number 5 for South Carolina.
So Nick Sheridan, the play caller for Coach DeBoer. What does he dial up on 3rd and 1? Jam Miller. Miller's got the first down, a stiff arm, and a little more. First down, Alabama.
Well, that's a nice job bouncing that outside. That play was designed to go up the middle. When he saw that they had the edge, and it was Kennard that got blocked inside and finally got sealed, he used his speed to bounce it outside.
Kennard is trotting off the field. He's been the best player for South Carolina all day long.
Here's another scenario, Joe. No Kennard and no Stewart on the field, so the edge should be softer if Nick Sheridan decides they want to throw it in this situation.
We've heard little from the superstar freshman receiver Ryan Williams. Here's Milroe keeping it and just getting back to the line of scrimmage. Kilgore with the tackle.
Yeah, Jalen Kilgore has been impressive. Was a freshman All-American a year ago, and he's taken his game to the next level. Had an interception earlier in this game, but at 6'2", 220 pounds, he's physical off the edge and a hard guy to block. And listen, Milroe's not easy to tackle, but it's so nice for Clayton White and this flex nickel defense to have a player at Kilgore's caliber in the slot. Makes a huge difference.
Kennard still not on the field here on 2nd and 11. Milroe back to pass. To the end zone he goes. Intercepted! O'Donnell Fortune with the pickoff in the end zone. South Carolina's got everything working.
And this ball just hung in the air a little bit too long, and Fortune was able to pick it off in zone coverage. Did a great job keeping his eyes on the quarterback the entire time. There's a little flat route coming down here. He's not worried about that. He's coming up top to pick this thing off and just does a really good job of just reading the route concept, keeping his eye on the QB, and picking this thing in the end zone. What a massive play for South Carolina's defense.
Jesse, Milroe's last 3 turnovers, interception, fumble, interception, and they have led to 17 points for South Carolina. And we are starting to get to that point in the game when you look up at the clock. Sellers downfield, and that's incomplete. And a flag comes in as Malachi Moore was there defensively. But you start to think through the scenarios here, the big picture of how this could impact this season in the college football playoff race.
See Shane Beamer all the way out on the field there wanting pass interference, and it should have been. Malachi Moore had his arms firmly wrapped around the receiver.
Number 13, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
He was essentially hugging Nick Harbor as he's running that deep cross route, and Yeah, the momentum is all on South Carolina's side, Joe. There's no question about it. The fans here at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium are absolutely stunned. Shane Beamer told Katie before the second half, we've taken the crowd out of the game. You can hear that right now. They're not a factor.
6 penalty on Alabama for 51 yards. Ball is loose. The ball is loose. A fight for the ball. And Alabama's got it. Just what they needed. LT Overton. Fumble recovery tied.
And this is something that just can't happen if you're South Carolina, because it's a routine zone read and you're faking the handoff to Sanders, and if you're Sellers, you got to body the football. And just got sloppy with the fundamentals. It falls on the ground, and Alabama comes up with a massive takeaway. Here now with an opportunity to cut into this lead. The back and forth here, Joe, since the last, minute 37 seconds of the first half, has just been crazy.
Bonkers. Absolute bonkers. A Saturday in the SEC that has Clash of the Titans games still to come starts this way. To think this is the appetizer for Red River. What a day we've got for you, folks.
Delay game. Defense, number 93. Using the clap signal to draw the offense into a false start. 5 yards, first down.
Can't use clap signals, can't try to simulate the snap count. Which is what Barrett gets called for there by South Carolina. And now Alabama down close to the 25-yard line.
First down and 5 after the penalty. Jan Miller straight ahead. It'll be 2nd and short. Play caller's dream with under 12 minutes to play.
You know, I just wonder at this point of the game, the pass rush from South Carolina, hitting Jalen Milroe early, getting sacks, it's forced his eyes to just come down a little bit. He doesn't seem to be throwing the ball with as much conviction as he had earlier this year. Floated a deep cross over the middle of the field for an interception at the end of the first half. Just floated a deep crosser into the end zone on that last drive. He's got to start throwing with a little bit more conviction.
2nd and 2. Milroe looking for an option and finding Ryan Williams inside the 10. 1st and goal, Alabama.
Well, that had conviction. He's rolling out to his right. That was a very tiny window to fit that throw into between Eman-Wari and Kilgore, and he just let it rip. And that's the Jalen Milroe Alabama needs right now. And they've got to get number 2 the football more, and they got to get him involved. But they need their Heisman candidate at quarterback playing with supreme confidence. That was a good example.
First and goal. Milroe with blockers in front. Milroe into the end zone. That is a touchdown, Alabama. Don't worry about what you're seeing in the end zone. That's a touchdown Tide. And Alabama retakes the lead here in the 4th quarter.
I love the play call that time by Nick Sheridan, because you're running away from Kyle Kennard. You're pulling your center and your right guard, getting extra bodies out front. And they've been doing this all year. When they get around the 15-yard line or in, it's Jalen Milroe time. And we talked about best players having to touch the football in this situation, and that's number 4.
Dos Equis go for Dos. 2-point attempt coming to try to make this a 3-point margin.
You might see it again here too, Joe, with the quarterback run.
Best athlete, best option, most productive. Does Milroe do it again? 2-point attempt. Milroe to the end zone, and that's incomplete. And it'll stay a 1-point margin as Swain had it defensively against Bernard.
Going back to that
We got drama here in Tuscaloosa. What are they saying in studio, Kevin?
AT&T's keeping fans connected as we take a look at our multi-view, which is showcasing a bunch of great games across all our networks. Number 10, Clemson up big against Wake Forest on ESPN. Mizzou rolling off that loss right now at UMass on ESPN2. The big upset brewing in action right now on ESPNU. Buffalo over Toledo, 27-7. Alabama trying to avoid back-to-back losses for the first time since 2007. Tess, back to you.
Yep, Saban's first season, that was 2007. And in fact, South Carolina here in Tuscaloosa for the first time since 2007. Guys, you should come back more if it's going to be this good. 20-19 after they traded turnovers, and then Jalen Milroe struck. Rocket Sanders, here he goes. Jump play from the Rocket.
Really nice job that time by South Carolina picking up the blitz. Torricelli Simpkins right here is going to pick this blitzer up and move him, and that gives a crease for Sanders to get upfield. Really nice awareness, playing under control. You haven't seen number 5 break into the second level here probably since LSU. That's good news. They are running the football so much better, and they need it right now, down 1.
23-yard run from Sanders. Patiently waiting, now bouncing, and Sanders goes for 8 yards.
That's what I'm saying, man. Normally 230-pound running backs are just kind of one-cut north guys. He's got a little bit more wiggle than just that. He's not a linear runner for a guy his size. And if you watched any of Arkansas, especially 2 years ago in his first-team all-conference selection, I mean, he was doing this each and every week. He's been banged up. Last year with an ankle injury, had a shoulder injury this year, which forced him to miss spring. And then the ankle that's caused him to miss some time here, but he's looking pretty healthy now.
Boy, and he's getting work as it looks like he has that line to gain. We'll see where they mark this on 2nd and 2. Beautiful day, tremendous game of the SEC on ABC. And then coming up in moments, there's Big Tex. One of the great traditions in all of American sports. Red River's ready to roar. Texas and Oklahoma. Quinn Ewers gets the start for the Longhorns. 3rd down and 1 based on that spot. Sanders straight ahead. 1st down, South Carolina.
And that's just mano-a-mano. That's just putting Sanders one-on-one with Justin Jefferson. And he's already run over Jahad Campbell. And now he does it to Jefferson again. So good. He just has a nose for getting it done in short yardage situations, and a big advantage for South Carolina's offense.
Sellers. He gets it complete. Another 1st down for South Carolina. Dre Jacobs, the redshirt freshman, with the catch.
And what a great job coming back to the football that time. Good tight coverage here. Mbakwe's going to drive this. He just kind of is able to snatch that out of the air, keep his body in between him and the defender. And that was a tight window to throw into. And Joe, Norris Sellers right now, 18 of 21 thrown it.
Attaway breaking tackles as a flag comes down. We will check on that. As it stands right now, Attaway's got it down to the 23-yard line.
Holding, offense, number 52. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That'll march them back. And remember, you're sitting here with a situation, a 1-point game. You got to think about the field goal range for Alex Herrera. He's got a season long of 46. He hit from 37 earlier.
You see, Joe, South Carolina is just taking their time. They're trying to possess this ball as long as they can, and they've really kind of taken it out of Sellers' hands, thrown it outside of that last completion. It's been a lot of runs with Rock Sanders.
So Herrera patiently waiting. His first year as a starting place kicker, 6th year in the program. Sellers on 1st and 20. He's going to check down to Rocket Sanders. And Sanders is met and then pushed out of bounds.
Just need good decision-making now from Lenora Sellers. He's been good with his decisions throwing the ball, but we had the turnover at the end of the first half, the turnover on their last drive on the zone read.
That game summary really tells you how wild things have been. The 19 unanswered points by South Carolina, the trading turnovers, the recent touchdown by Milroe taking control of things, and now the late drama of a one-point thriller with a 21.5-point underdog in South Carolina, pushing Bama to the limit. 2nd and 18. That is incomplete. It'll be 3rd and long, and
I think if you're South Carolina here, you're not thinking about getting it all on 3rd and long, but you got to get it within field goal range. And Alex Herrera, Joe, he's never attempted a 50-yard field goal in his career. So I think to feel good about this kick, you're thinking about getting this thing close to the 30-yard line. You've got about 6.5 yards to go.
what a difference a half makes. They have been just fine on 3rd downs in this second half. This is to manage an opportunity for a field goal attempt. And a timeout is going to be used. We will take the break. How will it all not afford back-to-back losses to unranked teams?
The question is, could Bama reach the playoff even if they finish with 2 losses, losing to both Bama and South Carolina? I think no, especially in the strength of schedule. When you're not playing Texas, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M, I don't think that's enough juice to get in if you lose this game today. And remember, it's not about divisions anymore. You can't just win the Western Division and get the automatic berth. You've got to be one of the top 2 teams in the conference now to go to Atlanta. They're not going to be that if they lose here today against South Carolina.
The shocker last week at Vandy. The drama here today against this fiery South Carolina team, facing a 3rd and 18, but trying to get in field goal position. Sellers. Larvadan spinning free as he gets to the 33. So you're talking about a 50-yard attempt from there to try to retake the lead.
And again, Herrera has never attempted a 50-yard field goal. In fact, in his first 5 years on campus in Columbia, had never even attempted a field goal. He's taken over now that Mitch Jeter transferred to Notre Dame. Jeter was the most accurate kicker in school history. So this a massive moment now for Herrera.
Officially, they're going to mark it down at a 51-yarder to take the lead at Bama. Alex Herrera, does he have it? No way, not close. Bama maintains the 1-point margin. 6:08 regular season record following a loss. And right now, following that shocking loss to Vanderbilt, they have a 1-point lead against South Carolina.
Surprised Jalen Milroe ran out of bounds there in this situation, because this is sort of an extended 4-minute situation where you're trying to ice the game. You're expecting them to run the football and take as much time as possible between plays, try to bleed this clock, but Milroe knows better in that situation, because you don't want to get in scenarios, again, where number 5 and number 6 for South Carolina are pinning their ears back.
2nd down and 10. Milroe being chased again, but keeps his footing, and now this is where he's dangerous as he strides out and reaches the ball for that line to gain.
Dylan Stewart was the disruptor on that play. He swam C.J. Dupree and then got around Jam Miller somehow over here. He's able to work through 2, and still Milroe is able to find his way up. We've been talking about Kennard all game. This is the other guy that is the real deal. He's only a true freshman. He's the number 3 ranked defensive end coming out of high school, and he's got 1st round written all over him. Great individual effort, though, that time by Milroe, avoiding him after he beat 2 of his blockers.
First down, Jam Miller. Jam Miller catches a seam and then stiff arms his way for a few extra yards. O'Donnell Fortune with the tackle. Remember, he had the interception earlier.
Well, and they're taking advantage of Kennard getting upfield this time. Vandermark, the left guard's coming around to seal that, and that allows it. So you're thinking about, from a play calling standpoint here, how do we negate these defensive ends going upfield? We got to find creases. We got to find lanes. That was a nice job there by play design by Nick Sheridan.
Just a reminder, clock will continue to roll until we get to that 2-minute timeout. Then it goes back to the old college football rules. 4.5 minutes to play. Quick strike, Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams, who had arguably the play of the year against Georgia, and then had the spectacular 58-yard touchdown against Vandy, but just today really hasn't played as big of a role.
No, he hasn't. Give O'Donnell Fortune credit there, too. He had the interception in the end zone a few drives ago, making a nice tackle, because how many times have we seen the 17-year-old Williams jump up, catch it, keep his balance, spin, and then accelerate for a touchdown?
Play clock down to 5. Just bleeding time is Milroe. And quickly get it to C.J. Dupree, the tight end, who makes his mark towards the 41-yard line.
Jalen Milroe is going to need a nice back after this game. He's carried the ball 15 times already. You assume he's probably going to have to do it a few more here. With about 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go if they're going to win. It's been a physical contest. He's been sacked 4 times. He's turned it over a couple times as well, but they need his toughness right now, physical toughness, to ice this thing.
Haynes testing that right side on 2nd down. It'll be 3rd down from there in what has been a wild day. Alabama had a 14-zip lead. South Carolina had a sequence before halftime in the last minute 37 when they scored 12 points. They dominated the 3rd quarter and then traded turnovers before Alabama had the go-ahead touchdown in the 4th and a missed opportunity with a field goal by South Carolina moments ago. Kevin Nagandi, what's going on, my man?
That's time now for our all-state check-in. You talk about domination. How about undefeated Army all over UAB? Quarterback Bryson Daly, 4 rushing touchdowns, and this 50-yard touchdown pass to Casey Reynolds. Black Knights on their way to a 6-0 start for the first time in 28 years. 44-9, they lead. Red River rivalry coming your way here. First time we've seen Texas, Oklahoma playing against each other in the SEC. And Quinn Ewers getting ready for that one, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Tess, back to you.
Texas and Oklahoma, they started playing at the State Fair of Texas back in 1929. Truly one of the great traditions in all of American sports, coming your way in moments. This is Jam Miller on 3rd and 3, and Miller will have the first down for Alabama.
You know, and I love this play call because they've got Ryan Williams in the backfield faking the reverse. It's a decoy here. And remember, they scored a touchdown on this against Vanderbilt late in the game, and so they're trying to show South Carolina a different picture, just keeping him off guard. It's a nice way of adding wrinkles to a play that's worked in the past at a critical moment of the game.
Coach DeBoer watching his team melt away that clock. 51-yard field goal attempt by South Carolina was way off the mark. So Bama looking to hold on to this 1-point lead. It's just a 1-yard gain as Hemingway makes the tackle of Miller.
South Carolina just used their last time out now. So they've run out. It's going to come down to their ability to get quick stops.
They got the 2-minute timeout coming up.
Coming up too, but it's Alabama right now has looked real good, and we call this a 4-minute situation, and every offense in college football practices for this. When you have the lead late in games, what are the play calls? What are you doing to try to bleed as much clock as possible? It's mostly runs, high percentage throws, trying to keep the ball in the middle of the field. You're not running out of bounds. You're not throwing incompletions, and this is a situational football. We always talk about 2-minute when you're trailing, but what about when you're leading? And it's these 4-minute situations now that Alabama's trying to execute to win this game.
Well, let's recap some of the drama we've seen here in the 4th quarter alone, because Alabama was looking to take the lead when O'Donnell Fortune came up with the big pick, but then probably the most costly moment of the game, Jesse.
Yeah, and it was a simple zone read that got fumbled by Lenore Sellers. which gave Bama the football back. Moments later, Jalen Milroe capped it off with a touchdown run. Failed two-point conversion, gave them the 1-point lead before the missed field goal by Herrera. This thing has been back and forth.
And now Jalen Milroe, he is tackled for a loss as the clock is going to count down. Demetrius Knight makes the tackle to the 2-minute timeout. And when we return from the short break, it will be a critical third down. Right now, it's 3rd and 10 for Alabama, trying to hold on to a 1-point lead against unranked South Carolina. 3rd down and 10. Milroe back to pass, wants more than 10, and he's got it. Touchdown, Jeremy Bernard. Oh my, Jalen Milroe, way to do it there. Biggest players on the biggest stage at the biggest moments. Jalen Milroe equipped for that, Jesse.
And it was a coverage bust in the back end by South Carolina, Joe. Nobody in the deep third. They're going to be running some over routes this way. Safety runs back in the middle of the field, but nobody has Bernard running on the smash route. You see some motion early. They're all discombobulated and bunched up in the middle of the field. It's the first time in this game South Carolina just looked out of sorts, and on a critical 3rd and long late, Jalen Milroe, their Heisman candidate, answers with a strike to Bernard.
He has 2 rushing touchdowns today, and that passing touchdown there, the progressive pylon cam showing you the moment of the score. That now has us at an 8-point margin. So a 1-possession game for number 16, Lenoris Sellers, to deal with. Coming off last week's disappointment at Vandy. Bama hasn't lost 2 regular season games in a row since the end of the 07 season, and they fought back here in the 4th quarter. College football rankings are brought to you by Capital One. Just the beginning of a spectacular day set to come your way. Red River coming up right here on ABC in moments.
Yeah, and of course, these 2 teams facing off today as well, Ohio State and Oregon. This picture going to change before day's end. If today's anything like what we're seeing in this one, Joe, we are in for one heck of a day.
And remember, Shane Beamer, head coach at South Carolina, had to manage the clock before the 2-minute timeout, and that is why they've exhausted all their timeouts. They had to put themselves in position defensively for that 3rd and 10, and now no timeouts, trailing by 8. Sellers going to tuck and run and slide.
You just wonder if they have the firepower. They haven't shown it early this year throwing the ball. Maybe last year with Spencer Rattler at quarterback and Xavier Legette, a 1st-round pick at receiver. This year, though, who's the alpha wide receiver that can step up right now in this 2-minute situation?
Clock will continue to run. Sellers on 2nd down. Sellers. That ball is incomplete. It was off the hands of Larvadan. Well,
the pass rush right now is overwhelming South Carolina. That time, their right tackle got completely bull rushed into the backfield. That's Jatavius Shivers. Look at the right side. Hugh Robinson with one hand just shoves him right back in the backfield, and it's very difficult right now for any quarterback in a 2-minute scenario to operate when you just don't have time.
3rd down and 6. Saban Field, Bryant-Denny Stadium. The crowd has come alive looking for a stop. Sellers pressured. Breaks free. He's going to run as a flag is down.
I wondered watching that live if that wasn't Jihad Campbell offside.
I think he was, Jesse.
Yeah.
He was sneaking into that neutral zone.
Offside. Defense, number 11. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
So Jihad Campbell normally is lined up at middle linebacker, but in third down situations, obvious passing situations, they put him right off the edge. He's got versatility and the speed to pass rush there. That time just a little bit too early.
First down, minute 14 to play. Sellers with time, and it gets a complete pass midfield. All right, South Carolina's in business here.
It's a really nice job on the in route that time by the wide receiver. Larviden just settling down in the zone, giving a place for Sellers to go with the ball.
They're going to be able to take some strikes now. Sellers gets it out quickly. Larviden, the intended target again.
But look who made the play. Damani Jackson, a cornerback, who closed on that and was able to knock it away. Got injured earlier in the game. They've got a leader on this defense now back in, and he makes a huge play. Probably not 100%, but nice job driving on that curl route to cause the incompletion.
Left the game injured earlier. Comes back in at this critical juncture. 55 ticks of the clock remains here in T-Town. 2nd and 10. Sellers, pocket collapsing. Worst case scenario, flag does come in. We'll check on that as Q Robinson gets in on Sellers. Was there a face mask there?
I think it was the left tackle, Josiah Thompson, got his hands in the face of Q Robinson off the edge. So hard right now for South Carolina to hold up without any threat of them running the ball. Everybody in Alabama, they're just going back and forth. There's another face mask.
Yeah, that's the one I'm referencing, Q Robinson.
So that's funny because I saw the left tackle with a face mask trying to block Q Robinson.
Face mask, defense, number 34. The result of the play was a fumble recovered by Alabama and forced the penalty from the previous spot. It'll be first down.
And now South Carolina's 31 yards away.
That's crazy because Q Robinson, I think, got face masked and then face masked somebody else. Watch him on the left side here. Right there. You see that? See the right tackle? He tugged his face mask with his right hand. And then, of course, Robinson went in and made the tackle on Sellers.
No timeouts. 31 yards away. Only an 8-point game. South Carolina. Here's the strike they want to the end zone. Incomplete. They were looking for big 6'5" Nick Harbor.
They got to look at that again because his right foot was really close to being in bounds. Nick Harbor, one of the fastest players in college football on the go route, working against Jackson. Watch this. Catch. Right foot down.
My!
Did he have possession when the right foot was still down in the end zone? They are going to have to look at this again.
Watch the progressive pylon cam. There's the foot.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. The previous play is under further review.
Wow.
I think we're going to have an overturn and a touchdown and a potential 2-point opportunity for South Carolina. But let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin. Is there firm control and a catch at the moment we have the toe down, Matt?
It sure looks like it is to me, Joe. I would be very surprised if this not overturned to a touchdown.
Can you believe this? If they see it the way Matt Austin sees it, the way we see it, Nick Harbor just came up with this miracle catch here on the road at Alabama.
There haven't been a lot of opportunities to go deep down the field for South Carolina in this game. They haven't taken a lot of chances, but when you get the matchup with a 6'5", 235-pound All-American track star, one-on-one against a cornerback who's probably not 100% at this point, you take the shot, and that was a beautiful back shoulder throw.
And when the penalty happened, the face mask, you just got the sense they're in range now. They can take the strike they want. They took it, and based on this call, they may land the jackpot here. There's the toe, synced up with the catch. Nick Harbor, is it a touchdown?
I think if you're the offensive coordinator.
After review, the receiver had firm control and had his foot in bounds. Therefore, it's a touchdown.
Wow. Here we go, folks. Here we go.
So during that review, I'm sure Dalla Loggins, the offensive coordinator, was starting to look for a 2-point play. Because I think everybody on his headset was telling him that's going to be a touchdown. It's going to get overturned. What do we got now with the game on the line?
It is on the line. South Carolina, the 21.5-point underdogs. The fiery, pesky, unranked believers here in T-Town against a focused, determined Alabama team with their season on the line. Two-point conversion to tie this game. Sellers looking for something to the end zone. Overthrows it. Bama's gonna dodge the bullet and hold on here.
And that's a throw that Sellers just wants to have back because he had Vendravius Jacobs open in the back corner of the end zone. He's right here working the corner route, and it's wide open. It's a little fake to Sanders. You're getting him outside. You've just got to hit this throw. You've got a defender in your face, and it's not easy, but that's a play they rep over and over, and they just couldn't execute it with the game on the line. They always talk about, Joe, how football comes down to 1 or 2 plays every game. Man, that is one that Shane Beamer knows, an opportunity they missed.
This is a changing world of college football. It's different than it once was. And it may be better, week to week, more entertaining, as the talent has been spread out.
Yeah.
As things have changed, as you can have outliers like last week with Vandy, as you can have all the chaos of last week with top 10 teams losing, and you can have a game like this.
Yeah, with more parity, and it just feels again, Joe, like anybody can get anybody on any given Saturday this year in the SEC.
The onside kick will come their way with Kai Kroger, and they're going to blow whistles here. And the timeout's going to be used.
Alabama takes its first timeout.
And by the way, you have 2 outstanding special teams coordinators and a special teams head coach right there in Shane Beamer, because Jay Nunez had a great conversation with Jay just before kickoff. He said anytime you go up against South Carolina, you got to be ready for everything. So they have had extra work in on special teams for every scenario, including the onside and the hands team. And Joe DeCamillis takes over, longtime NFL guy, was at Texas. Pete Lembo, maybe the best special teams guy in the country, was here a year ago. So both these teams are 2 of the best you can have in terms of situational special teams. There is Joe on the sidelines. Can his unit get the ball back for the Gamecocks? Kai Kroger, the punter, is who they use in this onside scenario. Here it is. It's a wobbler. It's got to go 10 yards. It's loose. It's loose. South Carolina's got it. South Carolina's got it. We're not done yet, folks. We're not even close.
It looked like Alabama tight end Josh Cuevas was the first to have a crack at it for Alabama, and the ground ball just bounced off of him, and then it was a ricochet. This thing was just curving and curving. You see Cuevas goes down to get it off of his chest, then it's Oots. 2 tight ends had an opportunity for Alabama to secure that football. They couldn't get it done, and South Carolina still has life.
Colin Bryant looks like he is the one who recovered. South Carolina football at the Alabama 49. No timeouts. 40 seconds remain. Sellers managed it well moments ago with the strike to Harbor for the touchdown. What can he do here? They bring pressure, and it is caught by a lineman off the deflected ball.
And the clock's going to run because of that. He should have just knocked that down to the ground. Precious seconds ticking off the clock now for South Carolina.
Jatavius Shivers caught that football, but it's going to be costly because we're under 20 seconds to go. Sellers chased all the way back at the 35, and he has to throw it away, and now only 13 seconds remain.
To get into field goal range for Herrera, who missed a big kick a few drives ago, you probably got to get down close to the 30-yard line. So you're looking at about 19 yards. You got to make it. But with no timeouts in your back pocket, you got to be thinking whether it's sidelines or clocking it and getting to the line of scrimmage quickly to get that opportunity.
13 seconds. Desperate for an opportunity for Alex Herrera, the place kicker. Sellers, is there some magic in his arm? Intercepted. Damani Jackson, who left the game injured, came back and is going to put an end to it right here. That was awesome stuff. Just awesome. How great is the SEC on a day like this? And Alabama, a much-needed bounce back, taken fully to the limit.
What a resilient performance by Alabama. Things didn't go their way, and they gave up 4 sacks. They turned it over a couple of times, and really that last play, Joe, is a microcosm of that by Damani Jackson. Remember, he got beat the last drive on the go throw for a touchdown against Nick Harbor that time.